Hey guys, Rob from Georgia, aka VHS 82 apostrophe, here with you, and joining me not too far from the great land of Canada, Glenn, aka BDG Reviews, and the psychopath himself, Will Cardinal, host of one and only Bay of Blood podcast, and as well the one and only Mr. Don and Ellie. We're fresh off our second Black and White Nights commentaries. We're revving up for episode 3 as we look at the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, directed by the one and only Tobe Hooper. So get those chainsaws started, get that color off your freaking TV, and settle back for what ought to be one hell of an entertaining evening. What's up, guys?
Hey, folks.
Yeah, it's all good.
All good, bro. I'm glad I'm recording with y'all tonight. I mean, with all this shit going on, bro, I was so hyped up to get to it with you. So yeah, Don, well, first of all, I mean, well, of course, he was on Bay of Blood podcast before, but he was there once, I think. Yeah, once.
Yep.
Right.
All right. So
Which we just got out, which anyone who's listening, check out the show on Horrorphilia.
Absolutely. So, well, I'd say again, because for anyone who didn't listen to the last show, who didn't get the chance to listen to it, go ahead, bro. Introduce yourself.
All right. I'm Don and Ellie. I used to have a show on Horrorphilia called Horror Mafia, but that's sort of been put on hiatus. So as of right now, I'm just running around doing guest spots and commentaries and pretty much doing, just whatever I can if anybody has a show or anything. Recently, I've done a series of guest spots with NFW Commentaries, doing a franchise retrospective on the Anaconda films.
Nice.
Oh, which one though?
All the 4 of them.
Oh, okay. So you went all sadomasochism. I mean,
Yeah, we did the original. We did the theatrical sequel, Anacondas, Hunt for the Blood Orchid. And
yeah.
we're doing the 2 Sci-Fi Channel entries as well as the crossover. The crossover
with Lake Placid.
Yeah, that's gonna be the next one.
Right.
That's gonna be the next one on the list.
I gotta
Bro,
admit,
I'm
I love
sorry,
that
bro.
Anaconda
Judge me all.
versus Lake Placid.
No,
So
judge me
I
all.
absolutely love those.
Judge me all you want, bro. But the Hunt for the Blood Orchid is my favorite, bro.
Oh no, my favorite is part 3.
That's my least favorite. Again, so glad to have you here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
So what?
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, that's the most recent stuff I've done. I've also popped up on Fresh Cuts. I've done a couple of episodes with them. And my other podcast, this is probably my main one now because the other ones are, Horror Mafia's on hiatus. My other show is Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, where it's a giant monster.
Good motherfucking shit.
Yeah, it's a giant monster podcast where me and 3 other of my big kaiju loving friends get together and discuss a movie and an Ultraman episode.
Which two of them were on Bay of Blood?
Yeah,
Jerry Cordes, Mr. Venom, and Derek.
Yeah,
we still have to get to Mr. Jerry Herring. Shout out Mr. Jerry Herring. Love you, bro.
Yeah, so other than that, yeah, like I said, I've just been running around doing guest spots and commentary appearances. So this is par for the course. Showing up with you guys and doing a movie commentary.
Yep.
Awesome. We got because I mean it's the first time Rob and Glenn did 2 of them already. What they call Black and Night.
Black and White.
Black and oh, yeah, Black and Night. So I gotta say though,
Mm,
interesting premise, if you will. I mean, when you guys told me about doing some black and white commentaries and shit, I was like, oh damn, that's cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this idea came from Rob, right?
yep. Yeah.
So Rob, how did you came with this idea to begin with?
Well, I think it probably, Glenn, wasn't it just sort of an outgrowth of a conversation we were having just about our own love for experimenting with taking the color out of things? And I
Yeah.
think the one movie that I think I kind of, I always push on hard for using this method of watching is the 2011 Thing. It's a great way to sort of neutralize some of that really bad CGI, and I just find that movie so much more enjoyable to um, watch that way. But
It
I
really
think
is.
look at you got directors like Frank Darabont and George Miller with both Fury Road and The Mist, who have gotten really special black and white edition releases, and I think even Logan had a
Yeah.
special black and white release. And this needs to be talked about more because, as me and Glenn have already experienced, even last night, it really does change the way you perceive the film when you see it through the lens of black and white. And it's a fun experience. And more people need to kind of, I think, get into this.
Oh, definitely.
If I can ask though, why did you went with the Evil Dead remake, and the last one you did was Stage
Stage Fright.
Fright?
Yeah. Evil Dead remake. I can answer that really simple. I wanted a reason to rewatch it. That was pretty much it. And I was just like, do you want to do a commentary on it? And it's like, yeah, okay. And it's like, do you want to watch it in black and white? It's like, yeah. And it blew my mind. It really did. How different. Everything just worked better. And I'll tell you this right now. I mentioned it last night on the Stage Fright show. Rain looks phenomenal in black and white.
It absolutely does.
Yeah. I mean, what was the not so much black and white, but what was the movie you were talking about last
Well,
night?
before y'all go on, I gotta ask though,
Yeah.
was it the first time watching black and white for both of you?
Yes.
Yeah.
For both films?
Yeah.
Both Stage Fright and the Evil
Yeah.
Dead remake?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it just changes your whole view of it, really. Especially Stage Fright. Like we mentioned when we were doing it, with the exception of some of the haircuts, that could have been a movie from the 1950s. The signage and everything just worked. It looked like a 1950s movie. Damn cool.
Damn,
Hey,
I'm bummed out to have missed this out, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Will, I'll tell you why I decided, or I leaned towards. I said to Glenn, "Hey, why don't we do Stage Fright?" Because thinking about the movies that we kind of already had picked as future opportunities, that was the one that I thought to myself, we really need to save the Texas Chainsaw for Will another day. We need to save that one. And a lot of the other movies that we already chose, just in our minds already, I think we had already decided these are going to probably look extremely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Stage Fright, there was that question mark, at least in my mind. And so I thought, well, if there's one that Will's going to miss, let's make it this one, because this one, we don't know how this one's going to turn out anyways. And lo and behold, it actually turned out pretty darn good. It was fun to watch.
So,
It was fun.
well,
I was
fuck
trying to do
y'all,
you a favor,
bro.
Well,
I
hey,
was trying
once
to
the
do you
show
a
comes
favor,
out,
Will.
man.
Oh yeah, once the show
just
comes
put it
out, bro,
on.
I'm
There you
listening.
go.
Oh yeah, absolutely, will do, absolutely. I'm sure you did a phenomenal job, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, for a podcast without me, I'm sure you did good.
Oh yeah, we did. You know, it's not the same without Will, but you know.
Without the burps.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
But bro, TCM was a phenomenal idea to begin with. I mean, I just checked out, some. I mean, when we went through the chapter and shit, and I just happened to like just out of curiosity. I mean, I apologize, but I watched maybe like 30 seconds,
Hmm.
and bro, I think we're in for a treat.
Now, Will, just so you know, it's been a while, but back when, when I would experiment with this film or that film, I have actually watched this movie in black and white before. And so that's why
Okay,
I
so
wanted.
you did see this film in black and white
It's
before.
been, yeah, oh, this one, yes. It's been a while, but this is one of the reasons why I push on this idea so hard, because when I saw this thing in black and white for the first time, it really blew me away. I could not.
When you say a while, are we talking months, years,
Oh, no, it's probably been
decades?
a year or two. It's probably been a year or two.
Okay.
It's been a while, but I mean, you experiment with other films, and me and Glenn spent some time last night talking about some of the movies that we either would like to do or we have done, and I've done it with the '78 Dawn of the Dead. I think that looks a lot better in black and white. The Thing, 2011 Thing for sure is a whole lot better in black and white, just because it washes out some of that CGI that I can't stand
Yeah.
in that
I'd be
movie.
curious
But
since you mentioned the prequel to the Thing. I'd be curious to see um My Bloody Valentine 3D in black and white.
That could work. That could really work.
Maybe.
yeah, I don't know.
I may have to give that a
That's one of those
proof
ifs,
of concept.
Yeah.
What do you think about all this, Don?
Well, I'm not really much of a fan of experimenting with film choices. I basically just watch them as they are.
What were you thinking
So-
about the whole idea of watching films in black and white? So it's your first time, right?
Purposefully doing it, yeah. I mean, I've seen stuff like the black and white version of The Thing. Not The Thing, The Mist.
Are you curious though to see like a film as classic as TCM is in black and white? I sure am, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be new. I mean, like I said, it's not something that I would have done on my own with no provocation to do so.
Mhm.
Like that's it, it's one of those things where it's like I would have had something like this where you guys brought it to my attention that I would have done it without, because otherwise I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have had any mindset to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Don.
Yeah, I can see that because without Rob, I don't think I would have ever done something like this. But ever done DON, you know? No, ever. But, oh yeah, I'm so
Hey,
awesome.
hey, Don, I got a question for you.
Love me, love me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you've seen Darabont.
It's not Glenn, it's Rob, bro.
So
No,
Don,
it's
so you've seen The Mist in black and white, then?
Mhm.
Would you?
yeah.
think of
Well,
that?
I own the Blu-ray. Oh, it's better.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
have you seen Fury Road in black and white?
No.
The black and chrome edition that Miller finally was able to get released.
No, because I don't own the movie.
Okay, that is big. That is absolutely beautiful. That is so beautiful. But that was his intent. That was his vision initially. He wanted to do that movie in black and white, but of course they're not going to let him do it in black and white. And so he finally got his Blu-ray release of it, where he was able to release it that way. And but you listen to these guys, you listen to Darabont, you listen to Miller, and it's like this is the preferred version. This is what they, I mean, they grew up in the black and white cinema. Some of us, I mean, I'm basically 50 now, so I grew up watching a lot of black and white movies because my parents and whatnot.
Yeah, I watched a lot of. I perfectly fine watching black and white. It's not an issue for me. It's just I'm much more concerned with watching a movie rather than playing around with all the special features with it. So yeah, I don't really, it's like one of those where I don't do like, wacky subtitles. I don't do like weird dubs. If that's the way it's presented and that's the original version, I'm fine with it because, that's the
Okay,
way.
I gotta interrupt you though. Wacky subs, wacky language and shit, bro. You watch a tank, so fuck you, bro. You did watch some pretty like weird, like non-dubbed or dubbed, weirdly dubbed film. The Turkish Jaws, a tank, bro.
Yeah, but the thing is that I'm not playing around with it on my player doing it.
I was
Like
playing
that's
with
the
my
thing.
dick watching it, bro.
Oh man.
Ain't it a good film to play with your dick?
Well, I'm kind of excited where we may end up on the other side of this, especially with Don. I'm curious to what his thoughts are going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
because I mean,
interesting.
like I said, it's not something that I really do on my own. I don't really like play around with features like that. I don't turn the settings up. I don't put I mean, I'll check out like a commentary track or stuff like that, but not like, altering a film or doing like anything unusual with the presentation of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I get you.
if whatever the presentation it is that I can get a hold of, I'll watch it like that. I mean, I'll watch like, colorized versions of black and white movies. I've seen the colorized Night of the Living Dead. I've seen the colorized version of House on Haunted Hill, I think, the Vincent Price one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen the colorized version of that one. But if it's one of those where, if I watch the original version, that's fine. If I watch the altered version, that's fine. But I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be the one to do it myself. That's what I'm
There
saying.
are some films too. I mean, when you think about one of my all-time favorite horror film is The Innocent. I can't see this picture being like colorized, if you will.
Yeah.
Not at all. So to see, I think what's interesting is the fact that I would never like colorize a film, but I would decolorize a film. It's kind of weird to say, maybe because I'm small ass '90s baby, but it's really something that's interesting.
No,
But there are some. Yeah,
you
go
know,
ahead, Rob.
Will. I was gonna piggyback off that. I have the UK edition of the Thing from Another World from '51, and there's like three versions or transfers of that film, I guess, in there. One of them though is an unauthorized color version. And I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. I tried to
I
watch it.
believe
I
you,
had to
bro.
turn it off
I
because I wanted to
believe
see
you.
black and white. I hate it. I absolutely hate
I
it.
believe you. I believe you. Absolutely. I mean, I gave the Innocents as an example. You can find the Innocents being colorized on YouTube for free. But it's not the Innocents, bro. The Innocents. I don't know. Don, ever seen the Innocents?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite black and white films of all time.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
bro. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite horror film of all
Yeah,
time, to say the least, bro.
it's always the film I've used to champion that I can tolerate slow burn films.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
yeah, I've always, if you figure out what my tastes are, you realize that I lean more towards the
Slow
party.
drive narrative.
No, I'm more towards the action stuff.
Mm.
I'm more of the fan that I'll actually tolerate the Resident Evil films because they're shoot 'em up action films.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that, but I mean,
Yeah,
the
so
Innocents.
I'm saying is that, I come from an action background. I come from, watching Commando and Die Hard and Lethal Weapon and films like that before I got into horror. So I'm
And
more
for
used
your
to, but I'm more
for your
used to that
for your
style and tempo. Let me finish. I'm more used to an action tempo rather than a horror tempo. So when there's an action movie set up in a horror film, I'm into that automatically. That's what I'm
I
saying. And then
I
when the
guess
Innocence when the Innocence came along, that was the one that I was like, okay, I can tolerate the slow, like a more slow burn type of a story.
I can see it, bro. But I tried to interrupt you because you named like Commando and shit like that, bro, and you didn't mention For Your Heights Only with Wang Wang.
Well, I didn't see that when I was growing up. That's the thing, because I was going off of my childhood. I didn't
Still,
see that. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't see it as a kid. That's the problem. Because I was going off of being like a 10, 11-year-old watching these movies.
all right, all right, all right.
That was
Still,
that was my mindset.
still fucking good shit, bro.
Oh, I love
Anyone
that.
out there?
Yeah, I love
Wang
that.
Wang, bro.
I love that movie. That is absolutely epic. I love that movie.
Amazing, amazing shit, bro.
Yep.
But yeah. For me, before we start the show, we'll skip. I say we skip the news since well, the world is on pause for now. So
Yeah.
I'd ask the three of you and myself include, um, what are like two films you would be curious to see in black and white that are like, color film, but you'd be curious to see in black and white? I can go first. I know right away. For me, Demons
Nice.
and Bride of Reanimator. Those are two films I'd be curious to see in black and white.
Brighter Reanimator. Damn. Yeah.
Hmm.
For me, yeah.
I'm just thinking. I would probably say The
Night
Howling.
of the Living Dead.
No, The Howling.
The first
I,
one?
yeah, The Howling. I think that one could look pretty good.
That could, yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
Yelling. Yeah, I could see this work for sure.
yeah, I mean, you've got all the outdoorsy stuff. You've got all the scenes in New York. I mean, you've got all the early stuff in LA with, all that stuff turned into black and white. That could look pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see this work.
Howling and maybe The Burning. Maybe make those effects look good.
You don't think the burning effects are good?
Burning is ruined by its effects. Savini's off worst, hands down.
Savini's best is the Prowler, but I don't think.
Yeah, I think so too. I've always said the Prowler is his best work.
Absolutely.
Not best work, best slasher work. Because let's not kid ourselves. He did Dawn, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still,
I'm saying
I don't
like
think they
his
are.
best. I think the Prowler has better effects than Friday 4.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody always goes gaga over Jason's death.
Mm.
I think the rest of it's kind of just like typical slasher wounds. I'd say Prowler is better.
Absolutely, Prowler is
Yeah.
top notch. Absolutely.
Glenn, weren't we just talking
I'm
about
surprised
that last night?
though.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because you're the first one done. You're actually the first one I ever got the chance to talk to, and he agreed with me on best of any work is the Prowler.
Yeah.
I think what it is also is let's be honest, like the kills in the Prowler are more, I want to say, realistic.
Yeah.
There's no like giant like, machete in the head and sliding down the machete, or
Yeah.
like moving head on a table or anything. They're
Oh,
very-
absolutely. When you look at the Prowler, it's pretty much low-key gore. I mean, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
and
As
that
a
film's got
monster-
what, like 5 kills?
Something like that, yeah.
It's not a high body count at all. I mean,
Not at all.
but
Yeah.
every kill is memorable enough. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. I
As-
mean, You've got the pitchfork in the stomach. You've got, I think that's one of the best head explosions in cinema history. I don't know. I don't understand why that
Yeah,
one's
but
not.
by the end, yeah, absolutely. It's even
Yeah.
better than Scanner, bro.
Oh, Scanners is shit. I've always said that film's shit no matter what.
Oh, I can't agree. And Rob's probably like boiling now.
Why is that?
Yeah. Well, I've always said, even though it's a shit scene, that's the reason to watch it. But after you've seen that, Scanners is nearly unwatchable.
Really?
Yeah, I cannot stand Scanners. I think it is boring. I think it is slow. I barely have enough energy to get through it.
It's a slow burn for sure, but bro, I watch this film at least twice a year for sure. Um, I can't see how you can't revisit this film further down the line. It's so well, to begin with, it's iconic. Let's be honest, it is iconic.
Well, here's the other thing. I'm not a Cronenberg fan.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not a Cronenberg fan at all. I need to revisit Shivers. I'll give him that, because Shivers is the only one that I'm really kind of on the fence about.
mhm.
The rest of it, I'm not a fan of. Rabbit is a decent watch, but there's nothing deep about it. Brood is just, I don't know what the hell. Brood is just boring. I cannot get into it, and
Brood is a mess of a film. I give it to you. Brood's a
yeah,
mess of a film.
yeah, Brood. I don't know what happened with him. I think the divorce got to him. I absolutely
Brood
hate.
is my least favorite
Yeah.
Cronenberg film, so I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the
Video-
real question though. What about The Fly?
Fly is the only good thing about it.
Okay.
Fly is the only thing that I actually like about him, but other than that, I don't care for him at all.
What about
I mean-
Existenz?
I haven't seen anything past Crash.
Ooh, Existenz is pretty good.
Okay.
Videodrome?
Oh, Videodrome.
Videodrome has decent ideas, but they don't work for me.
Why?
I get it.
I've seen it. I've seen it a few
Is
times.
it-
It's got some
Is it the-
great ideas.
Is it the
No,
pacing? Because I mean, Cronenberg's big on like slow burn and shit. So
No, it's not that. It's just there's issues that I have with how everything comes together. I think there's just ideas in there that I want explored more that he doesn't,
Mhm.
and I think he taps some great ideas. I mean, there's parts of it that I actually really like, but it's just as a whole, the film just doesn't hold up to what I think it could be. Like, that's the thing, is that I think there's a great film in there somewhere. It just doesn't come together for me.
Well, I get it.
Yeah. And then the less said about Dead Zone, the better.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah,
I can see.
yeah,
but
that's-
to reassure you
that's
though,
But that's like the classic Cronenberg phrase, and I'm not a fan of most of it. So
to reassure you though, Rob, Zombie by Fulci is one of Don's favorite films. So.
no, not is. It's number one.
Oh, it's number. Oh yeah, it's not. Oh, I thought it was in your top five. I didn't think.
No,
it was
it's
your
number one. Yeah, number one.
Nice.
hmm
Yeah, so my choices for stuff that would be good in black and white. I have 2.5. And
Two and a half.
Yeah, the half is I'll get the 2 done first. First is Hellraiser, the first Hellraiser. I want to watch in black and white because I love that movie to begin with, and I can only see black and white making it better. And the second is Don't Torture a Duckling.
Oh
yeah,
damn,
that's a good.
oh yeah, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah,
I didn't thought about it, but yeah.
Duckling would look great. Maybe it would
Yeah.
hide that fucking dummy.
Yeah.
and my half, and I say this is a half because the movie is essentially a black and white movie when you watch it. The color palette is so muted, and that would be Let the Right One In. It's
The remake, of course.
Yeah, I know what you.
honestly either one because they're the same movie.
Well, no, title-wise, it's "Let Me In," right?
That always kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, me too. Fuck this.
No, but like the original "Let the Right One In" had a very monochromatic color scheme to begin with, so it'd just be like taking it to the next level. That's why I give it like a half.
But bro,
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
torture
I
a duckling.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I'll give you Duckling. That wouldn't be a bad one.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Duckling, it would be interesting, really.
Mm.
What about you, Rob?
I give you two. Anthropophagus.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could see that
I'm
too.
intrigued. I have not seen it in black and white, but I'm very, very intrigued to see it in black and white. And the other, I would have to go with Seven.
Yeah.
Seven. Maybe, but I mean,
know.
I'm not a big fan of Seven to begin with. I don't even consider Seven to be horror. So
I don't either.
maybe, but like let's say 100% like horror. Okay, can you give?
It's close enough for
Okay, I'll give you
it's
one.
close
I'll
enough
give you one.
for a discussion like this. I'll let it go.
Well, I'll give you one. How about the original It's Alive?
That could work. That's
that could work.
That's pretty much like a 50s, creature feature, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd be curious to see
absolutely.
that black and white.
Or what's the other one? Q.
Yeah.
Q. That would be an interesting one. That one out of all of these that we've mentioned, Q and Don't Torture a Duckling could probably be potential ones to revisit in this series if you're doing it.
Yeah.
What about the Psychic?
That could
I
work.
haven't.
That could work.
That's the only pre 85 Fulci film I haven't seen.
It's a master class in horror, bro. It's really fucking good. I don't know about you, Rob, but I really love this film.
Which one?
Yeah.
The Psychic.
Oh yeah, I love it. I absolutely I adore that movie.
I just thought of another two that could work, and one of them you guys are gonna rip me apart for, but I'll start with the good one.
Careful.
Yeah. The first one is Slither, the James Gunn movie.
I see that. I see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because again, it has that 50s feel, But the other one, you're gonna get
Careful.
Slender Man.
I haven't seen that.
Because
I've
it's
heard of-
trash.
Bro.
The movie
heard-
is trash. I admit
That's
it.
Fuck you,
why I haven't
bro. I
seen
mean, have you seen like Always Watching at least? I mean,
Oh,
Always Watching is
Always
such
Watching is
a
awesome.
better made film.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about this like what Rob said about the Thing, the pre-make of the Thing. It looked a hell of a lot better in black and white. So
yeah,
I'm
but
wondering,
still, it's nah, bro. I'm sorry, but bro,
yeah.
the prequel to the Thing is way
It's a much better movie
more
than Slender.
superior than the Slender Man, bro.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think like, could anything make that movie better? And I don't know.
A dumpster fire?
That might do it. Yeah. that really might do it. I just noticed one other. I was just looking at my shelf and I saw something. I thought, Spawn.
Yeah, it's not horror though, but
It's not horror, but I mean, in terms of experimenting, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, simply because the CG is so bad, and you take the color out of the CG, and it really does look better.
Bro, Spawn is a big pile of smoking dump, bro.
It is. It completely is. But it's got like a decent looking character.
But bro, it doesn't make sense when you think about it.
No,
bro.
of course
It's like
it doesn't.
it's like I'm saying like RoboCop 3 is gonna be great in black and white. No, it won't. It's fucking trash.
Oh, that's the thing. I know it's trash. I'm just saying, like, would it be better trash in black and white? Would it change my opinion of seeing said trash if it was more like if something was more atmospheric and like you had like deeper shadows and everything? I don't know.
Hmm. I mean, out of everything, I still say the top two would probably be Slither and Don't Torture a Duckling, but
Yeah,
Duckling, I can see work
for
Spawn
sure.
could be
100%.
Spawn could be interesting if you're willing to stretch genre qualities.
Yeah,
If you're
What
willing to
a,
stretch it, that could be interesting.
yeah.
what a,
Oh,
what
what
about the
about
Last
zombie?
Jedi though? Zombie, I don't. I mean, bro, it's so iconic though.
I know.
The color scheme, everything is so. I don't think you could actually
I might try it.
like
I
like
might
like
try
I
it.
like we in the chat like we were talking about like films. We would be curious to see without any colors and shit, and I said Suspiria. I would
Yeah,
be curious to see Suspiria, but it's so iconic with.
the
The
color.
thing is, yeah,
Yeah,
you can't do anything that really relies on color though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're just turning it into a series of unrelated set pieces now.
Yeah,
The only
yeah.
the only Argento film that popped in my mind maybe was The Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
Hmm.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking Inferno.
Well, you know what? I had that thought. I was afraid to say it.
I was thinking Inferno.
But Inferno ain't an Argento flick, so
Yeah, it is.
no, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I
No,
know.
it's not.
I know what he's getting at.
I do too, but his name is still on the. He's still credited.
Yeah, it's an Argento film. Get over it, Rob.
Oh man. Yeah.
I'm saying Inferno could be fun, especially the finale. I think that could be
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder about opera.
Mm.
Um, no, I don't think so. But I mean, when it comes to Argento, bro, I mean, I may be the only one, but I said it in the chat, bro. I mean, for me, Argento top three is The Blood. Second is Cat O' Nine Tails, and
I'm
third,
assuming you mean Deep Red.
Yeah, that's the first one he said.
did I say Deep Blood?
You said Deep Blood, and I'm like, no, he can't mean Deep Blood.
Deep Blood, bro. Deep Blood. No, fuck Deep Blood.
Yeah.
Well, still. Um, we'll save it for another show. But yeah, Deep Red. Deep Red, Cat O' Nine Tails is my second favorite. I love this film so much. And third, Tenebra or Suspiria. I'm kind of not
You know
sure.
what might actually be a fun little masochistic experiment? Mother of Tears.
That could be.
I could, yeah.
Mother of Tears could be a fun little masochistic experiment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, it's like of the entire like Three Mothers trilogy, it's like the blah one, So
Mhm.
maybe, yeah, give it might work. It really might, really.
That's what I'm saying. If we're bringing up Inferno,
Yeah.
Mother of Tears, I think that could be a masochistic experiment.
It definitely could.
I prefer Mother to Inferno, bro.
You're not the only one that said that. When we covered one of the persons actually said that they actually thought Mother of Tears was better,
Wow.
not better than in Suspiria, but I'm saying better than Inferno, because most of us rated them in a release order.
Yeah.
There was one that said Mother of Tears was better than Inferno.
Mm,
It is.
I, I don't. I like Inferno.
And you know what's better than the both of them? Jennifer.
No, well, yeah.
It's okay. I actually prefer Pelts though myself.
Ah.
It's not that that's not that I think badly of them. I like Pelts a little more, just because it felt a little bit more unhinged.
Yeah, I
I
can
get it.
see this.
Yeah, Pelts just felt a little more unhinged. I like Jennifer. I thought it was a lot of fun. And it was one of my favorites of season one. But I thought Pelts was just a little bit more unhinged and a little bit more enjoyable.
All right, so
Hey,
let's move on to the
hey,
main feature,
I
though.
was just thinking, and we can move on.
Oh, sorry, Rob.
I'll throw one more option in there. Just I was looking at my shelf like Glenn was, and it just kind of popped off at me. In between, somewhere between children shouldn't play with dead things or let sleeping corpses lie.
Nice.
I wonder how
Um,
those would go.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I can see those work. But if I had to throw one more in there,
Mhm.
it would be who
Sledgehammer.
can who can kill who can kill a child.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys would know this one, but Werewolf Shadow from Paul Naschy.
Nice.
I mean,
Never seen it
those
though.
things, yeah,
It's
and
Nashi.
yeah, Paul,
That's
yeah,
reason
Paul
enough.
Naschy is, pretty much
The goat.
for me personally, out of Price, Cushing, Lee, and Karloff,
Mhm.
he's fifth on the list.
Am I the only one though? Am I the only one? Since we're about that whole Nashi conversation,
Mhm.
am I the only one? My favorite Nashi film is Curse of the Devil.
Mm, it's probably top 10. Well, the other thing is that I still haven't seen Mummy's Revenge and what's that other one that just got released? Because there's like one or two from that period that I haven't.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Jekyll. That's the other one from that area.
Ah. I got a soft spot for Blue Eyes of a Broken Doll.
That is a lot of fun. I really like. I think that's his
Hate it.
best giallo. That's
You
his
hate it?
best of the giallos.
Yeah.
Blue Eyes
Hate
of a
it.
Broken Doll is his best giallo.
Hate it.
I just don't like the pig scene.
Hate it.
Yeah.
Overall, I hate it.
Will hates it. There we go.
But yeah, I know. Like I'm saying, if it's in the middle, if it's from that period, then those are the only ones that I haven't seen.
Mm.
And it's been a while since I've revisited Frankenstein's Bloody Terror,
Mm.
or even seen the original version, because I only have.
That's my fourth favorite, bro.
Yeah, but I'm saying I haven't seen the true Spanish version. I've seen the American
The
disaster.
shitty thing.
Yeah, the American disaster. Let's just put it this way: I haven't seen Mark of the Wolfman. I've seen Frankenstein's Bloody Terror.
Mark of the Wolfman, I can remember being pretty
That's
good, but it's
Mark
been
of
a
the
while.
Wolfman. Mark of the Wolfman is the Spanish version of Frankenstein's Bloody Terror.
Yeah, but Mark of the Wolfman, I can remember seeing this film. It's been a while. Like I remember like legit like seeing that title on my back when we had like cable and you could actually like scroll to some through the channel, and I remember seeing this title and I was like so
That's
encapsulated
weird
by
because
this film.
it's never been released in America. Mark of the Wolf, unless you're thinking of another movie.
Well, I'm not in America.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All right, so should we jump into the actual film, though?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right, so
That's just.
everyone's still at 0?
Yep.
Yeah. Hold on. I just gotta wake my TV up because no activity. So.
Kind of like my brain, you know? Gotta wake it up.
Okay, and it looks like we are good to go.
Okay.
I'm set.
All right.
Okay,
So who's doing the countdown?
I'll do it. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
This is gonna be good.
Toby Hooper. Who the fuck is Toby Hooper?
Oh man, I always find it funny, you know, Kim Henkel. I always found that name. I always thought it was a woman for the
I
longest
thought so
time.
too. Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah. I have to say, to this day, this is one of the greatest openings ever.
It's,
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Simple as anything, but it gets across exactly what's coming.
yeah,
absolutely.
I also love the fact that, you know, what's his name was never actually credited for recording it.
John Larroquette.
Yeah. You know, it was just like everyone knew it was him, but he was like never credited.
Yeah. The thing I like is the fact that when they did the remake, they asked him to do it. They figured he didn't want to do it because he had gotten so much bigger in popularity,
Yeah.
and he was like, guys, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. Just ask me. And
Yeah.
so they asked him, and he did the thing for him.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, though, to each and every single motherfucker recording with me, first time you saw TCM, when was it? Oh, that looks amazing, though.
Yeah.
Wow. For me, that would be sometime in 1995. This was not 1995, 96. This was the very first film that I ever attempted to watch when I specifically wanted to get into horror films.
Mm.
Because for the longest time,
that looks amazing. I'm sorry, bro, but that looks crazy good.
yeah, like I said, I had been into action films for a while, and I had sort of looked at horror as like moral, like a religious kind of it, like a religious issue.
Mm.
So like watching violence and gore and dismemberments and like that kind of stuff, like there wasn't like anything like moral, like it wasn't like a moral thing to do.
Mm.
So I sort of got away from it. I
Yeah.
never like gave it much interest, and then realizing that watching that stuff in other genres, because I mean, you know, you're watching Predator, you're watching guys getting blown apart, you're watching Total Recall, you're watching, you know, guys with their eyes pulled out of their heads,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, it was one of those things where it's like, you know, I'm seeing all this other stuff, and it just sort of kind of like, why am I not watching horror films if I can handle all this other stuff?
Yeah.
So I got into like watching horror to see if I could,
Yeah.
and the first one I chose was
On
Texas
TV
Chainsaw.
or renting?
It showed up on TV like a couple of days because it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see what it's about. Let's see, you know, see if I can get to it. And I ended up and I caught it on TV like maybe a week or two later.
Sweet. What about you, Rob?
I was just thinking, probably. I mean, I was probably in my mid-teens. Pretty sure we were in that period where my dad was recording anything and everything onto from HBO or whatever, Showtime, whatever, onto VHS tapes, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was one of those films that ended up being recorded. And I remember the first time I saw it, man. That movie, man, it was one of the few movies as a kid watching it gave me literal nightmares. And I actually went a very, very long time in my life before I ever revisited it. It made that kind of impact.
Damn.
What scared you though?
The one scene that scared me more than anything was actually the initial sledgehammer and slamming of the metal door. I don't know. It was just so.
Visceral.
Yeah, it was just like, dude, when that metal door slammed shut, it was like end of story. And I was like,
Yeah.
just traumatized, man. And somehow I made my way through it, but then I never revisited it again for a very, very long time.
Okay, I can already tell the difference between this because that thing was a fucking noonday shot and it looked like the Dark Knight.
Yep.
Okay, I can already tell the difference.
I already love it. I mean, it's and it could be like just plain as like black and white, bro, and it would work. Like let's imagine like I mean I'm pretty sure there was some black and white screening back in the days of of TCM.
Well, I'm probably sure somebody had like a black and white TV, and
Yeah,
saw it on those.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, you figure this came out in '73.
Yeah.
Like when did I'm saying if it would have
74.
74? Yeah. So you figure it would have hit TV by 75, 76 or
76.
something, like
Yeah.
75, 76. So
Mm.
color TVs weren't predominant until like the mid '80s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have more than I'd probably make a very easy bet that this played as black and white sometime.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're not even like 15 minutes in, and I think it works. That's what's crazy. And I mean, we're talking about a film that I saw multiple, like hundreds and hundreds of times.
Mm. Well, that's the thing with the black and white. It changes how you see things. It's like watching watching it again, like for the first time.
It really does change a lot of things. Thank you, Rob, for bringing this to Bay of Blood, bro. I really appreciate it. I mean, it's my first session doing it, and I already appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. You are welcome.
Yeah.
Glenn, first time you saw this.
First time I saw this, I remember this perfectly. I was about 10 years old, and I remember it because there was this store in a mall near where I lived, and they had all these old VHS tapes. They were like $2.99 a piece.
Legit tapes or
Legit tapes, and there were hundreds upon hundreds of them. And I used to look through them, and they always had a copy of Evil Dead 2. They always had certain things. And one time I was there and I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre on VHS. It was the old, I think it was the Meta release. It was a very odd cover. It just had Leatherface that kind of stood there holding his chainsaw. And I just thought to myself, like, damn, I kind of want to see this. So $2.99, whatever. I picked it up, and it was a horrible print, but there was just something about it.
Was it legit though? Are you sure it was legit?
Yeah, it was 100% like a legit copy. They were old, like X rentals. They had the stickers on from the rental places and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it had been worn, it had been rented and played a lot of times. And it didn't look great, but there was just something. There was a visceralness to it that I didn't see in other films.
Little piece of trivia though that I gotta say. I talked to Oliver Robbins. That little dude in Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Who worked with Spielberg and Hooper.
Ah.
Who played that little dude? I can't remember his name on the top of my head, but that dude that gets the little kid that gets strangled by the clown and shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I can send you like screenshots, like legit screenshot. He was super sweet with me. He was super dope. And I asked him, um, being on set with Spielberg and Hooper
Mhm.
while shooting Poltergeist, did Spielberg ever talk about TCM, or did Hooper ever talked about Jaws?
Mhm.
But apparently not. It's like they were doing this, and they weren't talking horror or what they did or what made them do this the way they did. It was super, super, super cold, apparently, between the two of them. It
Mm.
was like, we're doing this, and that's pretty much it. It's kind
Well,
of weird.
did he say who actually directed Poltergeist?
No, he didn't. He didn't. Like, I think both of them did, personally.
I think it's just completely. I think Toby Hooper on Poltergeist was a hired gun.
Yeah.
There's
You know,
more of a Spielberg touch
it feels.
It's
Yeah,
than
always
a
it's
Hooper's
always
touch.
I've always felt that it's more Spielberg than Hooper.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Well, I
think.
mean,
But
you could say the same in the sense of the thing from another world is more Hawks than the actual director.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
but
hell, I always see it referred to as like Howard Hawks's thing from another world.
Yeah.
but to speak to this dude was so fucking awesome. Oliver Robbins used to be awesome. Now he's like, oh, are you gonna pay me if you want to talk or shit? But I got around him way before even I started podcasting and shit. Like, we're talking like 4 or 5 years ago
Yeah.
on Facebook. And interest again, interesting piece of knowledge. I mean, my favorite Poltergeist film is two. I love Reverend Kane. I love Reverend Kane. I mean, I got
Oh
that
yeah.
dude tattooed on my leg and shit, and he was the sweetest dude you could ever meet. I can send you a screenshot, bro. And now you talk about, like, he was hoping about everything. You could ask him about directors, the way it was shot. Was it really skeletons that were, that whole legend thing?
Mm.
You know? And he was so open. But nowadays he changed his Facebook, and I can literally send you a screenshot of his whole Facebook, me talking with him, and me talking with him now. Bro, it's so not the same thing. I mean, the dude like realized that horror fans are super cool and willing to pay, and he legit like just played on this, and I
Yeah.
hate it.
Well, yeah. It's all about the Benjamins.
Mhm.
But it was super cool with me. When I talked about the, like that Jaws TCM thing,
Yeah.
like, bro, Spielberg and Hooper never talked about any of their films, horror or not,
Mm.
during the shooting of this film of Poltergeist. It's crazy.
That kind of is really. I mean, you would have thought they'd have mentioned it.
I mean,
Just
it's two fucking legendary film, bro. CCM and Jaws. You would expect them to like, share thoughts of how they see horror and shit. No, not at all. Like from what he told me, like some of the crew were like, the Spielberg crew would go on and have a drink somewhere, and the Hooper, Toby Hooper crew would go somewhere else have a drink.
weird.
I don't know about you guys, but watching something in black and white, I seem to key in on facial expressions a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Mm. I've I actually
I've
find
both.
myself I'm actually reading the subtitles more because I'm trying to like I'm trying to like play in where I am in the film,
Mhm.
but I'm finding myself like going down to the subtitles more.
Mm.
Me too, I'd say. Especially doing commentary. I mean,
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that's the bad thing.
Just gotta love that camera.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of working though. Black and white's just kind of working.
I mean, it's like iconic to begin with. I would be curious to see, um, to just like say to someone who've never seen DCM before and say,
Mm.
"Oh, let's watch DCM. It's a black and white film." To
Mm.
just to get to know what they think about it.
I don't know if you can really do that though. I mean, for some of these iconic films, I think you would probably have to do the original version, not, just drop somebody in and say, "Hey, this is what made the film work," and then drop them in on a black and white version.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
But it
Yeah.
works. It works well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, because we've seen this so many times, we can practically replay it in our heads,
Yeah.
scene for scene. Maybe we'll get lines of dialogue wrong. Maybe we'll put, you know, a reaction shot or a few sentences and meanings out of order, but essentially put it scene for scene in our head. I think we're probably a little bit more familiar with it, seeing that in a different form. But if you're just going to drop somebody in on a film with no experience, no exposure, and say, okay, it's, top five, top 10, like greatest all time, unmistakable, like unquestionable top five, maybe like all time, and then drop them in on an altered format, I don't know if they'll really get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I 100% see what you're saying, but how can I put it? Let's say you introduce someone to TCM with TCM2 in black and white. It wouldn't work as good as TCM, the OG one that we're watching now in black and white.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean.
Yeah, but I'm saying is that if you're trying to get somebody to see what we see about it, try to get somebody to see
Oh,
why
not
it's
necessarily,
yeah.
but just overall enjoyment. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm just saying is that if you drop somebody in with no knowledge, no experience, nothing about the movie, and then you prep them up by saying, this is unquestionable, like definitive top five of all time, but then show them a different format than the one that got it there, I don't know if you'd get the same experience.
Mm.
Like if you would do a colorized version of Night of the Living Dead and say the same thing.
Mm.
Like that's
I
the thing.
actually love the colorized version of Night of the
Yeah, but,
Living Dead.
but I'm yeah, I'm saying it's a good version, but if you say, unquestionable top five, and you want to show them the version that made it so, I don't know if you
Iconic.
yeah make it live up to its billing, so to speak. I don't know if an altered form is going to make people see that if you just drop them in, no experience, no exposure, and just say greatest, like top five all time, unquestionable. Like
Mm.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
You know,
can see that. What?
if you
What?
can, if you're basing it on the hype, and then getting them, trying to get them to see
Oh
why
no,
it's
but
called.
no, but bro, without the hype, just someone that plain as don't know nothing about nothing, horror.
And just so I'm like, we're gonna show you a movie, and then
Y-
show them
Yeah,
it in black and white. Well, yeah.
I can see that working a little easier.
Mm.
But I'm just saying is that if you're doing it with a hype, I don't know if that'll work.
Yeah.
With a hype, especially if because I mean anyone who has got that tiny bit of interest in horror, well, it's like I can assume they saw some Texas Chainsaw Massacre scene to begin with.
Yeah.
So, but someone without any knowledge, they don't know shit about horror, if you will. You just take him like, oh, first horror film you can see. You set him, watch this. I think it could work.
Maybe.
Mhm.
What about you,
I
Rob? Do you
think
think it could work?
I think it'd be easier doing it that way, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's probably always best that somebody sees the film. I mean, I get what you're saying, Will, but I think seeing the film in its original way it was presented and
Intended
then moving
purpose.
from that
Yeah.
and experiencing it in another, it's kind of like, okay, well, if you thought the movie was freaking awesome like that, wait till you see it like this.
Right.
I was
But
just thinking,
I've
just
never
watching
seen
this.
I've never seen the colorized version of the Night of Living Dead.
It's pretty good. It's not bad. I mean, they do a pretty decent job. Some of the color tones are a bit wonky, but it's pretty good actually.
I was just thinking, just watching this now. If they just paid that guy his $2 for his photo, maybe none of this would have happened to him.
Well, it would happen like
You know,
further
like,
down the line, I think.
yeah. And look at this, like, damn vandal. Maybe it's just me, but honestly, I don't like any of these characters.
Mm,
You know,
really? I
no,
don't
I
know.
mean, I
Not even Sally.
maybe Sally, but like Franklin, I can't stand him. I love the fact that he gets chainsawed in half. You
For
know,
sure, but I mean, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's. I mean, I call it like a proto slasher. I mean, because you don't have that. It's just like how can I put it? The way I see it
mm,
is let me just formulate my phrase correctly in English, but the way I see it is it's just a time glimpse into the daily life of some travelers, if you will. You don't
yeah,
have to know anything about them. Like it's just they stumbled upon something really fucked up, and it's
yeah,
so fucked up that you don't really, especially given the time it came out, you
yeah,
don't really you don't need any backstory, if you will, or any like character development. I mean, there's no. I mean, it's just. I mean, TCM
mm,
is the perfect example of a straight to the point narrative, if you will.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I think what makes it so memorable is, you put it in the same sort of idea as Wes Craven's Last House on the Left, or even we mentioned it, George Romero's, his first film, Night of the Living Dead. These films, man, I mean, they were byproducts of how these guys felt at this
mm,
particular moment in time, and they were
Yeah, absolutely.
they
Yeah.
were freaking angry, man. They were
mm,
angry about the things they were looking around and seeing around. There was nothing they could do about it, and then this became their only way of just showing the world how they felt was through these films that they created, and it's no wonder they're still with us today. I mean,
Yeah, like pure like brute force, if you will. I mean, you don't need any character development or anything. It's just pure in your face brutality. I mean, especially for the time, bro.
Yeah.
but it's
That's
so
how I
well,
see it, at least.
it's so well done though that
Yeah.
it is intriguing to wonder, like at Franklin's house right here. I mean, we're about to see his house, and just to think adjacent to his house is another house, but there's a history to this area that goes way back, and at some point these families probably, generations ago, probably had some sort of, relationships going on, which begs the question: what really did happen with, not that it really matters as much, but what happened to the Sawyer family that caused them to descend into where we see them today? But
Bro, is it a deuce in his mouth, bro? I mean,
I think it's a chicken wing.
It really looks like a shit, bro.
Whoa,
Let
wait
me-
a minute.
I was gonna say it looks like a severed member.
Let me smoke my penis. But yeah, I can see what you mean, Rob. But especially given the time, I mean, 74. You don't you didn't need to have like a background to every fucking single character. It
No.
was new. It was in your face. It was raw.
no, these thoughts that I have come, as well as you guys probably come with, as many times as we've seen this movie. I look at it now, and I really begin to wonder, not that I need to see it, but I wonder, man, what was life like there 50 years earlier, and how did they get to this point where these kids jumped into the meat grinder?
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Ooh, okay. I'm liking this stuff I'm liking this right here. This
Yeah.
walkthrough of the house. This looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's an overall good film, but you don't need anything. You don't need like I said, it's a perfect example of a simple driving narrative. You don't need any background, and the less background you have, especially for the family, the more it works.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's fun to use your imagination a little bit though, and just wonder. You just kind of wonder. Especially when I think Franklin gives us a little bit of insight into earlier days.
Crippled motherfucker.
But I think that's half of his angst right there, is the fact that he can't deal with the fact that he's in the chair.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I mean, no way
Yeah.
someone like Franklin could have like a podcast crippled as he is. I mean, I
I'm
did
guessing
it.
the chainsaw
I did
head
it, bro.
probably didn't help.
I did it.
He
did
is-
it, and I'm as crippled as he is, bro.
But he is the ultimate third wheel to the group, right? I mean,
Yeah, completely. I just love the fact that they just left him outside. You know?
but he feels so.
Yeah, dude, take the stairs, Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it ever explain why he's in the chair?
No.
I didn't think so. I mean, because like, I'm assuming like it was like an accident or something. Because he doesn't have like withered away legs or anything. That like he's never used them. So, and I mean that would certainly explain more why he's so,
Yeah, I want to know, and I know we don't need to know this, but I kind of want to know why did Franklin's family leave that place? I mean, why did they just get up and get out of Dodge? And
Martha, little Frankie fell off the wheelbarrow. He's broke his back. We gotta move to the city. He'll never get through the doors.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously this place has been like abandoned for years, but you know,
Oh, go! Can't you climb up the stairs?
No, the reason the reason they show up to the cemetery is because whose family was it? Franklin's family member that's they're fearful that they were desecrated.
yeah, I think so.
So it says like his dad or something. Maybe they're fearful.
Yeah, or like a grandfather or something like that.
So it is kind of funny that Franklin would have no like no one would have told him stories like you don't want to be messing up there. The Sawyers are a bunch of nut jobs kind of.
Yeah,
He seems oblivious to the state of things um, there in that neck of the woods.
he really is. He really is. And this is a good example here. That obviously is something that's been put there. You know, that's
Yeah.
not. You know, it was obviously hung there at some point. So, you know, the
Oh, look
Sawyers
at
are
that!
obviously here. They've obviously been to this area, so why?
Oh, that freaking
Damn,
looks
it works
beautiful.
well in black
God,
and
that looks
white, bro.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It really does look well. It's a whole other thing.
Yeah. That was just
Yeah.
shoot him and put us out of our misery.
Look at this.
What about you, Don? Don't you think it's something else? I sure think it is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love the interior, the interior shots of them walking through the house. That was pretty creepy. I like some of those scenes.
I can't wait to see in the Sawyer house.
Yeah,
You know,
that's gonna look that's gonna look wild.
Yeah.
just to think, man, this used to be a creek full of water.
Yeah.
It's all gone, man. It's all dried up. There it is, man. There it is. Oh,
Gasoline!
So when you think of it, they're literally like neighbors.
yeah,
So, you know, I mean, I'd never really realized before just how close
yeah.
it is, you know? And so it's like, yeah, they obviously must have known each other.
There's a
The
history there
families have,
somewhere
yeah.
back there. It makes you wonder what the conversations were with Toby and Henkel. Writing up. I'm sure they thought through the process of what was there. That not that they were going to show it or explain it, but
Yeah.
I wonder what those conversations were like.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, bro, like since we touched upon this whole need any background for any characters or some shit,
Mm.
that is what makes Leatherface DCM3 works so well, I think.
Mm.
I love DCM3. Don, I can't remember if you love DCM3, but it's actually my second favorite of the whole series. I love this film. I really do.
I like the director's cut more than the
Oh,
theatrical
for
version.
sure. Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
the MPAA
Yeah,
completely butchered this film.
yeah, the director's version of that movie is actually watchable.
Yeah.
Not the theatrical cut. Even if you take the gore out, I'm not really a fan of that anyway.
Mm.
I like the theatrical cut makes it a watchable film. I'm not a huge fan of it anyway, but yeah, the director's cut is a watchable version of that film.
But don't you think TCM3 is way more, how can I put it, in the line of the original compared to part 2?
No, I prefer part 2 over the original.
Yeah,
See, I don't.
Not
I
not
rank.
me.
See, I rank
Really,
this.
I
Well, I'm saying I rank the series, the remake, 2, and then the original.
Mm.
for me, like I said it on the podcast, it's the OG one for me. 3, number 2. I know Glenn is a big fan of 3
Yeah.
too. OG for me is number 1. 3 is number 2. Third one is the beginning.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's gotta be great. We should just watch this and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you guys are gonna be really pissed off at where I take the rest of the rankings. Okay, like I said, I
But
do
TCM 3,
the
bro, I love TCM 3.
3 is not bad, but the thing is that I like the others more. So I kind of place it at the bottom by default. Well, no, I actually like it more than Leatherface. I keep forgetting that one.
Fuck Leatherface, bro.
Stop. Stop.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that one. So I put the
Watch the movie.
so. Yeah, you guys don't want me to keep going with my franchise rankings.
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead. But after this scene, though.
Oh god.
Yeah. Okay. After this scene.
Oh, it's the twitching that does it.
Yeah, it's the second.
And it
it's the second.
works. It works so well.
Oh.
See, man, when I was a kid, that's the moment I became traumatized, man. The minute
Yeah.
that metal door slammed.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's a scene where no matter what happens, he's not getting out of that. Even if he somehow managed to survive those hits, he is not surviving what happens behind that door.
But back to the TCM ranking shit. I don't get why people are literally like sucking the dick out of 2. I mean, people are sucking it dry. People are so in love with 2.
Will, you want to know why I love 2?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a child of the 80s, man. That's Toby's comment. As much as this is a comment on the 70s, the second part is his comment on the 80s. And I always have had I've always felt a connection to that movie. Maybe because in 1980, I'm 10 years old and that decade just starts to unfold. And I can
absolutely. I can see
2.
this. Absolutely. I can see this. But I mean, can you connect to part 2 to the original? I can't.
I never actually thought you're supposed to take them as canonical sequels.
No, I never thought so either. I've always seen them as just separate commentaries on 2 separate decades.
Well, it's part 2. It's TCM part 2. It's advertised as
but
part 2.
that doesn't mean anything. Just because you label something as being inclusive in a franchise doesn't mean it's a canonical sequel.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. But since, TCM was a big fucking hit, and there were no multiverse or reboot or soft reimagining shit going on back then.
Crap.
It was part 2.
Look at
it
this,
was
man.
TCM part 2.
Oh.
Well, here's the thing with me. It took me a while to come around to the original. I never cared for it when I first saw it. I hated it when I first saw it. Because there's no blood, there's no gore. It wasn't what I was watching the films for. So I'm like, okay, I'm watching these as a horror films to see if I can handle the blood, the gore, the gruesomeness, and all that. But it's not here. So what the fuck? Like I didn't care for the movie when I saw it that first time. So it took me a while to get to it. By the time that I actually had seen it enough to get it and enjoy the original, I had already seen part 2. And part 2 is over the top. It's wild. It's gory
in your
from the
face.
get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I think the family in 2 is better.
See, I think as a kid, I felt more comfortable just really enjoying part 2, and I would never go back and revisit the first one because of how stark it is,
God damn,
how
does it work well?
brutal this movie is. But part 2 is not like that, as Don said. I mean, part 2 is so, it's like the 80s in a way. That's what the 80s was like, and it's you know, I mean, it took me a long time to come back to this movie, man.
Yeah, like I said, it took me because I was so pissed off at it not being the film that I wanted to watch. When I wanted to see her getting that pole up there. I want to see all that blood splatter.
Mm.
That was what I was watching it for, and it didn't deliver. I didn't want to have it in my head. I wanted it on screen. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to put it in my head because that wasn't why I wasn't watching these movies. I was watching them because they were on screen, and this one was, and it's not in here. So by the time I came around to it and I understood what it was trying to do, I had already seen part 2, and I had liked that one a lot more because it was what I wanted. It was the in-your-face
Oh, wait a minute.
bloodshed.
Wait a minute. Did you saw part 2 before you saw part 1?
No, part 1 is the first horror film I ever saw, but by the time I came around
all right.
appreciating...
I thought you were saying part 2 was the first one you ever saw.
No, I'm saying by the time I had come around to understanding what made part 1 so good, I had already seen part 2. I had seen the unrated cut of part 2, and then I had liked that one a lot more by the time I understood what made part 1 work.
Oh, for me, bro, it's 1, 3, and beginning.
Okay, so if we're gonna do this, the remake, part 2, the original, part 4.
Oh, god damn, bro. Before 3?
Let me finish. Texas Chainsaw.
I can't. I'm too flabbergasted, bro.
Like I said, let me finish. Part 3. Hey, got me all flustered here. Okay, so the third one is the original. Then fourth is part 4. Then Texas Chainsaw. Then
Texas Chainsaw
TCM
3D?
3D, yeah.
Okay.
Then A New Beginning, the sequel to the remake.
The prequel?
Yeah, that one. Then 3, then Leatherface.
Wow.
God damn. For me, if I had to do like complete like rundown of the whole series, for me it's 1, 3, beginning, 2, remake, 4, 3D, and Leatherface.
Wow.
At least we agree on the last one.
Yeah. For me, it's 1, 3, 2, remake, beginning, 4, 3D, Leatherface.
Rob?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that, intertwined with this as a franchise as near as much as I am with my love for the first, my love for the second, this will probably go against the rest of you, I guess, but my admiration for what they attempted to do with Leatherface. There are qualities of that film that I really appreciated, but there are things I wish, different directions I wish they would have gone. I think that movie had potential to be really
something really great, but
great.
It crashed and burned.
Yeah.
The other ones, I mean, I don't generally get into remakes anyway, so I haven't really.
Not even the beginning.
I haven't really got into the rest of the franchise as much as I've pretty much just found my safe harbor here in the first few films. Now, the one that I have sort of rediscovered is, of course, the one with Matthew McConaughey
Yeah,
Part
four.
four.
Kind of
Four.
fell into that one, but so I'm so it's hard for me to
That's
The
understandable.
beginning, I love the beginning. I don't see how anyone could diss the beginning for real. I mean, the beginning is so awesome, bro. It's
Here's the
so
thing. Here's the thing with the beginning. You have the chick with the biggest hits in the film, and you put her in a fucking bra and panty for a sex scene.
yeah, I know that sucks, bro. Is it the Doriado or what's her name?
Doria Baird.
Daria Bear. Yeah,
oh, this works.
yeah.
So
She was into a Stan Helsing too, bro.
Yeah, I love Stan Helsing. That movie is
I love Stan
It is.
Helsing, bro.
Damn fun movie.
that is hilarious. I always thought that
Yeah,
one was
but
like
the beginning, but
I always thought Stan Helsing was like unfairly lost in the spate of all those like spoof movies,
spoof
knockoffs.
films, yeah.
Hmm.
That one was unfairly lost in those. That one was a
I
lot of
love
fun.
I love how he's just so freaking like just not sure at first,
Yeah.
and then he just kind of goes in.
I just want to know, was this a thing in the 70s that you just could just walk into people's houses?
Well, you did on the
Yeah.
street I grew up on, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Oh.
my parents said this all the time that back then you never bolted your doors. It was unheard of.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my parents used to say that they would literally say, "Okay, I'm going out."
Mm.
They would wake up, they'd eat breakfast, and then they'd say, "Okay, I'm going out." And then the parents' reply was, "Be home by light.
Yep.
Oh,
Be home before the street lights come on."
yeah.
That
This is
doesn't
the
make
great
sense
scene
though.
here.
That's awful. I hate this scene. I really do.
Why?
Cause she's supposed to be dead. When you watch the colorized version, she's white as a fucking corpse. She's been there for hours. She got hanged on some fucking meat hook and shit. Like she's supposed to be dead. No way you just lift up the top of your fridge and she comes up. Oh no, bro.
I always kind of took it that was kind of like her last gasp sort of thing. Like that was like
I kind of
like
get what
she used the last of her energy trying to get out, but no, it's no good.
No, I kind of get what Will's saying. I mean, it doesn't make any sense when knowing what he's done with her.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love this. Just the whole. You can see the thought process. He's like, what am I gonna do? I've let all these people in.
well, no, they always say that the film is that it's a home invasion movie. It's just it's a reverse home invasion movie. It's
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
truly is. It
It's
is.
a rev-
It truly is.
yeah, that was one of the things that got me turned around on the film was looking at it as a reverse home invasion where it's not the killers barging into the family's home, it's the family barging into the home of the killers.
Absolutely. And you absolutely and Toby Hooper said not Toby Hooper but Steven Spielberg said exactly the same thing. When he
Yeah.
was making Jaws, he was a big fan of TCM, and it's like it's us invading like that territory, if you will. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott always said that what
TCM is
motivated-
one of his favorite films.
Yeah, what motivated him, Alien, he always called his nod to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in space. That was sort of what drove him.
I think Alien is a way better film than TCM, though.
I wouldn't go that far. It's a better made movie on every technical level. I'll give it that. But I don't know. For me, my big thing with Alien is that it runs too long. I don't know. Just for me, nothing Nothing about it just manages to logically sustain why it needs to run 2 hours. It just
I,
always
I,
feels like as soon as they get back into the ship, there's too long between realizing that they need to be, when they realize that they're fine, and then the alien bursts out of Kane's stomach. There's just, to me, that scene just drags.
yeah, but nah. At the same time, nah, bro. I mean, Alien is like perfect fucking pacing. It's like all about that incubation thing, with the face hugger and shit. I mean,
I can't push you down that hill. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what this movie really is. It's a sister not wanting to take care of her crippled brother.
I'll tell you what doesn't need to be 2 hours is that Tintori whatever movie. Oh my god, 2 hours and 6 minutes. Why? Why the extra 6 minutes? Why?
That's just to turn the knife.
Oh,
You know? Yeah, when you really think about this completely is like a stand your ground movie.
Yeah.
I mean, if like they hadn't been using a chainsaw, if they'd been using like a shotgun or whatever in Texas and be like, these people invaded our house. It would have
Exactly.
been like, yeah, okay, fine. They'd get off for like self-defense or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy came in a wheelchair. He terrified me, so I shot him.
Exactly. I mean, like that was the defining point, was realizing that this was a reverse home invasion. That
Yeah.
was one of the key things that got me into it, was looking at it looking at it as that, the reverse home invasion.
Yeah. And I mean,
but it truly is a
Yeah.
reverse
And that's
invasion.
what I'm saying, is that as soon as they said that part clicked, because they said it's the reverse. It's not the killers barging into the family's home. It's the family barging into the home of the killer.
Yeah.
But what's even crazier is you didn't have those
Oh, okay. So
slasher
this is
films around to with those whole home invasion kind of thing, or well, you
well. I
had
mean, you
some
wouldn't have had.
giallo going on back in the days, but nothing
Okay,
as
so
visceral in your face too.
last house on the left, house at the edge of the park. I mean, okay.
House at the Edge of the Park was 80. It was after this.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last House was probably as brutal as it got before.
Yep. Absolutely.
But yeah, okay. So this is the
Last
first
house
time
was last house was 72.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's amazing, bro. In
Take
black
that.
and white, it's a whole other experience, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this
Colored
is horror,
film,
man,
bro.
at
A
best.
colored film. It works so well in black and white.
This is freaking horror at its best, man.
Mm.
I was gonna say the early shots of her walking through, when it almost looked like unintelligible blobs, I wasn't a fan of.
Mm.
But as soon as he drops the flashlight, it turns around.
Yeah.
Yeah, this stuff here works. But I don't like that early stuff where she's pushing him,
Yeah.
because it almost just looks like there's just blobs on screen.
Mm.
But I like this here. This looks good.
Yeah, for sure.
It works great. Just that chase scene, bro.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the chainsaw dance at the end.
Oh, that's gonna look amazing. That's gonna look weird.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, it's funny when you think about it, but really, I don't want to say Leatherface has done nothing wrong in this situation, but if you were kind of like dumb,
Yeah,
and people were like coming into your house and messing with you, sort of thing, That's probably
But
what's
it's
in his
crazy,
head.
bro. It works in color, and we turn the color off, and it works even better, I think.
Not better.
I
Looks
think it
different.
works better.
I'm gonna go as far as works. I don't know better.
I think it works better, personally.
What's gonna determine it is the dinner scene.
Oh,
Yeah.
The dinner scene is what's gonna determine that, because that's what sells the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
The dinner scene sells the movie, and that's the part I'm waiting for. Because
I love that she actually didn't break into the house.
yeah,
Everyone else just kind of broke in, but she actually knocked first. Let's see. Nope, she just broke in as well. I got to admit though, when the first
It's your house. Don't you have the keys?
they never gave him keys because he'd lose them.
that's probably why they never left the house locked.
Yeah, because you got him in there.
I'm saying one of the things I always love, and this is one of the few little hidden gems I enjoy. Have you ever seen the movie Mosquito from like 1994, 95?
yep.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sequence in there where he picks up a chainsaw and he crashes, or Gunnar Hansen picks up a chainsaw and crashes through a barricade. He does the exact same pattern on the door as he did to break through this house here.
That's awesome.
He did, yeah. He uses the exact same chopping movements, and it's exact. It's like slice for slice. He replicates the same pattern.
That's cool.
That was one of the things that I love about that movie, is that it's a big pattern.
So here's a question. You see, we talked about how closely aligned these two houses, Franklin's house, this house is. I was just thinking to myself, when she's running through all the brush and everything, and he's chasing, had she ended up on the doorstep of a completely different house, does he just come barging into someone else's house after her, or does he just turn around?
I love to think he does.
I like to think he has manners. And he's like, nope, that's the McPherson's house. We don't go in there.
Yeah.
She's breaking into someone else's house now. Let them deal with her.
Right. And the thing is that you realize, because I had for the longest time wondered why he never chased her into the gas station that we're going to see in a few minutes. And then it was one of those where it's kind of like, okay, I see why he's stopped doing that.
Yeah.
What a long ass chase scene that is, bro. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh. It just doesn't stop, man. It just keeps.
And you just got to say, for a big dude, he's got some good cardio.
Yeah.
I'd be huffing and puffing already. I mean,
Oh, I'm not even running.
Yeah. And her as well. I mean, like, she's running and screaming at the same time. I mean, you would think,
Bro,
saying,
to
like,
hear that chainsaw,
I'm
bro,
saying,
riveting behind you, bro, must be so terrifying, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm saying, like, okay, like right there, you saw them. He ducked away as soon as she rounded the corner.
Yep.
So it's kind of one of those, okay, that gives it right away right there.
Yeah.
She in for a treat, bro.
Yep.
What I'm saying is that, like you said, if she had ran to the other house, I think he would have done exactly like what he did here.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying, he's, okay, yeah, he's been chasing her around the property, but he's been doing it on his property.
Right.
Yeah.
Where Right. It's his house where he knows. If she goes into another house, I don't think he would have done it. I think he would have done exactly like what he did here. He would have dodged off.
But I'll tell you what, he would have paid a terrible price back home, though, for letting her go.
Yeah. And for breaking the door.
Yeah.
Bro, just imagine having the chance to maybe survive. And she got the surprise of a lifetime, bro.
Yeah. Well, this is the part that I always found kind of like the scariest in the entire movie. She was in that house, she got away, and now
She got away and she's back in it.
yeah, and then they take her back. It's that part that always got me, you know? The fact that they took her back.
Yeah. But the thing is that now it's one of the most overused tropes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's an overused trope for sure. But back in the days, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it works in a movie like this because you're genuinely not expecting it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like, okay, yeah, the sheriff that we've only seen once or twice is the secret family member that they've been talking about. Ooh, what a shock. Nuts.
You know when he has the bag. It's just like, yeah, nothing good's coming from this situation. It's okay. I'm just gonna put you in this bag.
It's okay. I'm just gonna put you in this bag.
Yeah. Like, oh, don't worry. It's okay. Nobody's gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna put you in a bag, and I'm gonna go after you with a broom.
We ain't having that kind of shit here, bro.
I just love that he's beating her with a broom after everything she's been through. It's a broom that takes her out, you know?
Yeah.
She gets away from like the chainsaw wielding maniac to be beaten with a broom and stuffed in a bag.
Dude, this works so well right now. This.
It does.
Yes, it does. The idea to watch classic films in black and white is amazing, bro.
I'm still waiting on that dinner scene.
The dinner scene's gonna be kind of like the make or break scene, really.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm still not there on it works better. Because like I said, that sells the version of the movie in its original form. Let's see if it sells the movie in this form.
Yeah. That just bothered me there that he shoved a dirty rag in her mouth. It's not even the fact that, you know, it's a rag or anything, it's the fact that it's dirty that bothers me. You know, damn it, he could have used a clean one. Now get in this bag and I'll take you home.
You wanna go trick or treating? You're gonna be Jason Voorhees from Part 2.
Yeah.
Let me take a piss real quick. I'll be right back.
All right.
I love the fact that he thinks like, he thinks like, oh, well, you know, I better turn off the light and close the door.
Yeah.
You know, like, what exact, does anyone know what his relation to Leatherface actually is? Is he supposed to be his father, or is he supposed to be like a brother, or?
He's like his father, I think.
Father,
or
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the hitchhiker has always been the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they say it's hitchhiker and Chop Top are supposed to be brothers.
And bro, big props to the actor, bro. I mean, he really pulls it off as a crazy motherfucking human being, bro.
I just love that he keeps poking her with the stick.
Yeah, just poking for the sake of poking, like, shut up.
Yeah.
But she's nothing more than just a caught animal for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bait. That's it. It's meat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's no need to do that now. The one thing I've always thought with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies is I always get the feeling if you were witty enough and like smart enough, you could talk your way out of it.
You can't see the background. But he's not really driving.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe not with Leatherface himself, but with like the other ones, if you could play it just right, I think you could talk your way out of it. Where
Leatherface is the kind-hearted one.
Yeah, he kind of is.
In this family, when you think about it.
Yeah.
He's been playing those cemeteries again.
I love that. Where have you been? He's beating him with this stick again. Oh man. I told you to stay away from that graveyard, damn it.
Don't you know it's COVID-19? Where's your fucking mask?
Where's your social distancing?
Where's
6
your
feet apart.
social distancing?
Oh, did you see that dude? I think he was in Florida. He got 4 of the big like 6-foot like pool noodles.
Yeah.
And he attached them to like a thing and he put it around his head so that no one can come within 6 feet of him.
Yeah, well, it's the one that they show where they're doing like the lines at the checkout where they're trying to show everybody like where to stand, but they have people standing. They're like 2 feet.
Oh yeah,
they're like 2 feet side by side.
Yeah, it's like
and I thought
front to back, but not sideways.
And I thought I knew dysfunctional families, bro.
Oh. Okay, yeah, so Hitchhiker and Leatherface are definitely brothers since they just said, brothers.
Yeah, look what your brother did to the
door. I love that.
Yeah, but even in part 2, bro, the Leatherface, the first time you see Leatherface, he's wearing that Hitchhiker costume.
Mm-hmm.
So Chop Top, if you bring the first 2 films really together,
Chop Top is a cousin.
Yeah, well, he's in Vietnam right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because 70. No, wait, didn't they sign the treaty in 72 the year before? Like, I think 72 they signed the treaty, didn't they? The pullout?
I don't know.
Yeah, 72. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did the pullout in 72.
I get the feeling
they were
Chop Top would have stayed there afterwards just to cause havoc.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Or I also kind of want to think, he was maybe like over in.
Now you see that Leatherface is just a tool, bro.
Yeah, U.S. involvement in 73.
He is the butcher, bro. Leatherface ain't shit. He is the butcher, and that's it.
What were you saying, Rob?
The U.S. involvement ended in 73.
73. Okay.
So,
I knew it was just before.
So he might be, obviously reading into things.
Well, you figure. Remember, the movie doesn't take place in 74. It still takes place in 73.
Okay, well that makes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always kind of assumed like Chop Top got back like probably, like a couple of weeks after the events of this.
Yeah. Because you figure you still had them stationed over there just for transition purposes. Because it wasn't a full. The ceasefire was 73, which is what I'm imagining. That point that you read, Rob. I would imagine that's still. I would have imagined that was the ceasefire, not the complete pullout. So I would imagine that we still had. we would have still had forces there just as a transitional matter
Yeah.
for
Well, I mean,
74, 75, 76.
Saigon falls in 75.
Yeah. And
I go ahead, Don.
no, I was just done. I was just gonna say, oh, that's right, because I
Okay.
forgot the Fall of Saigon.
But I think the way it works all depends on the way it's shot too. The cinema all depends on the way the cinematography works. The angles. I mean, it's something simple yet special. The way it's shot, the angles this film is shot makes it works.
Mm.
Am I the only one that
No,
thinks?
no, it definitely does.
It's worked a lot better than I would have expected, because a lot of these things really do feel like a 40s, 50s movie.
Mm.
Well,
But the way it's
This-
shot, the way the close up, the pan shots, the way it just works.
does it surprise you that
That it
Daniel?
works.
No,
It's
that
surprising me because I
no,
didn't expect this film to work at all. But
no.
thanks to y'all, it absolutely does.
I'm saying, does it surprise you that Daniel Pearl, the cinematographer, would go much of his very, very busy career is actually in music, shooting concerts and videos. I mean, he did Iron Maiden's Live After Death. He shot that.
Nice.
He shot Metallica's Cunning Stunts concert in '98. He's done things like Guns N' Roses' video November Rain. I
Wow.
mean, he's had a very prolific career in music, and it's all genres, man. It's just,
Bro, this scene is so fucked up, bro.
Well, the thing is that it mimics it to a degree, but the thing that still gives it away, and this is still something that I can notice in black and white, you can still notice the glistening, the sweat on their bodies. That's not 40s and 50s. That's still very, very much a 70s trope,
Yeah.
where you can still tell that, they're not, the clean cut person. Maybe you'll get in a fight and your hair will be a little out of whack, but you're still
Mhm.
gonna keep like a respectable appearance about yourself. You're
Yeah.
not gonna look like you're disheveled or you're completely like wrecked or anything.
Mm.
You can still see that with them. And like you were saying, with the music video background, you can tell, because this thing is way too kinetic. You can still see this thing. You can still see it in here. There's way too many.
By the way it's shot or the way it's
The way
like edited.
the editing, it's way too kinetic. You can still see all these. You can still see like weird zooms or like flash cuts to flash cuts to a close up. It's way too 70s. It still looks that way rather than a 50s, 60s. When it's shots around the house, like when you see them carting Grandpa down the stairs, it's stuff like that to me looks like a 40s or 50s film. But when I look at stuff like this still looks to me like a 70s film.
Mm.
well, here we go. We're at the dinner scene. What do you guys think?
I'm loving it.
I don't know. The thing is that you have to remember, during this sequence, Leatherface has the feminine mask on. You can't tell that in this version.
I can still see the pretty lady mask
No, but
easily
I'm saying
by the shadow around the eyes and shit. I can still see it.
I don't know. I'm getting more just a general white. I'm getting more like a general blur of a face. I'm not getting the detail that it's the feminine mask.
No, I can still see it.
Shut up, you bitch hog.
I will admit, the thing that looks the best in this is the headlamp.
Oh, that looks great.
The mask The
The head lamp,
lanterns.
yeah, you can clearly see the face.
That looks amazing. I will give this thing all the
The
credit.
skin
That
all
lamp,
around the lamp, you can see
you
the
can see
face, bro.
you can see the stitches. Like,
Yeah.
okay, right there, you can see the stitch
Small
on the,
details that really matters.
yeah, and you can still see there's the nostrils, there's the eye holes, there's even the eyebrows on the top of it too.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna give it credit. The black and white thing makes that lamp look
Pop up.
amazing.
Yeah,
I
it
love that.
pops up.
The human skin lamp over the top, that looks incredible. I will give it credit.
Mhm.
I love how he's like confused. He's not sure how he should act.
Handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
okay, but like, okay, see,
Okay,
this
so
stuff right
I'm
here.
really a father of like a crazy ass motherfucking family. So
Mhm.
I better jump in and do the same.
That's what I wonder. Is he like, we know the hitchhiker is crazy. We know the Leatherface is like,
look at
Oh.
that.
dumb. Yeah, that eye shot was great. But is he
Everything is great.
Is he
Everything in
really
this scene is
crazy?
great. Everyone is
I
crazy,
don't know.
bro, in this scene.
Yeah,
mean,
but
it's,
I mean like, like
and the way it's shot, bro, it's so well done, bro. It's just
Okay,
how
see,
would,
yeah,
would you
that was-
feel?
that was-
Tell me, how would you feel?
okay,
I
that
so
that first
wish
shot.
that that the mask had been Franklin's face. I wish it had been his face.
Yeah, but then that ruins the reveal from the remake when it's her boyfriend.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's, to me, that is, I think, the greatest shot in the entire franchise.
Oh, let Grandpa have some fun. That's fucked up as hell, bro.
Yeah.
I tell you, that's one of the parts of Leatherface that I do enjoy, is seeing a young grandpa out and
Mhm.
about
Yeah.
at a much younger age, especially in the alternative shots that aren't in the theatrical release, but those deleted scenes.
Mhm.
There's a few involving Grandpa that they, it brings
The
him to life.
behind the scenes, those cut sequences, like test run or some shit. I thought I saw of this this particular like scene, dinner scene. Is that what you're talking about, Rob?
No, I'm talking about the alternative opening scene and the alternative ending scene to the film Leatherface involving Grandpa.
Oh, okay.
It's just a younger guy, and he's more. I mean, you just see a part of that character we've never seen before.
Mm.
Now I'm not that familiar with the remakes and stuff. I know. Do we get a better or younger Grandpa at all in those movies?
I don't remember. I think
That's
Grandpa's
crazy,
dead. They
bro.
just honor him.
Yeah.
I-
Didn't
I
they
think,
replace him with the guy with no legs?
yeah, I think that was the thing.
I just love how in the beginning they show
That's
how he lost
so
the legs.
visceral, bro. It's so in your face. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying that, like, okay, like this stuff right here, like this is what I'm saying about the kinetic stuff. Like this just doesn't feel like a 40s, 50s stuff. All these like quick close-ups and stuff.
Mhm.
Like this still feels like a 70s thing to me.
Yeah.
So, Don, it doesn't surprise you at all then that this guy will go on to have such a prolific career in music.
No, I can
Shooting
totally see it
music.
because, yeah, I can see a music video career from this.
Isn't that funny how a lot of times these guys will leave music and come to film, and here we have a guy leaves his one film and goes to music.
Yeah.
But he's the cinematographer on the Friday the 13th remake too.
Nice.
The fact that they are struggling to get the grandpa to actually hit her, bro, is so unnerving.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And of course, my thought always with this particular scene is,
Oh, there you go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
She
Classic
really likes
material
jumping
right
out
there.
windows, man.
Right there, classic material.
Hell yeah.
Classic material right there.
Oh, run, bitch, run.
And see, up till now, we've only really come to the Sawyer house from the back side. Now we're seeing it from the front side, which is
Mm,
interesting.
Damn classic material, bro.
yeah. This part always got me. You know, just, going after and damn.
Classic material is finest, bro.
Yeah.
It's so iconic.
Yeah. And just that, slashing her with the razor as she's
Yeah,
trying to run
slashing her
away.
with the razor in the back. Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crunch.
He was USA, the truck was coronavirus, bro.
Oh man. I just love the fact also that's a sluck. That's a truck for a
A
slaughterhouse.
sluck? What's
A
a
sluck.
sluck, bro?
I know. No, but that's a truck for a slaughterhouse. 'Cause, that's taken like pigs to slaughter or something,
A sluck.
A sluck.
I love it.
Yeah. I love that he's like, I'm getting out of here. Forget this. Like, run, bitch, run. Oh, it's that bit of meat that pops out that makes it.
this poor guy gets left alone out there to run, man, and she gets the ride out.
I think they get him. I think they get him and eat him. Oh well, I say that, but I mean, there's not really any cannibalism in this movie.
It's implied, yeah.
It's implied, but you always think, damn it, girl, get up there.
Oh, classic material again. Classic
yeah.
shit.
Mm, it's okay. I just missed the race. The ra- it's the morning raise against the mask. I think that's what made it work.
Ah.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. This was good. It was really better. It was better than I thought it was.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, I mean, it's just like a different way of seeing a movie you've seen hundreds of times.
Yeah.
I find it funny, Ed Gwynn, cattle truck driver. It's so close to Ed Gein. Yeah.
Well, for me, bro, it works like damn well.
Yeah.
From the beginning till the end, it worked for me.
Hmm. It really
It's
does.
like seeing a film, you literally have seen. Like I saw this film multiple times, like over 40 times maybe, or.
Hmm.
But it's like a fresh take just to turn off the colors and see how this film could have been
Yeah.
without color is really something different.
Hmm.
And I think it works really well for what it is.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't expecting it to work as well as it was, because I forgot a lot of the shots of them in the house, like especially when they first arrive at Franklin's house. That stuff was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the thing is during the dinner scene, Dear God, that lamp looks beautiful.
It really
Oh,
does.
that lamp is amazing.
That lamp really works black and white. That
Yeah,
looks beautiful.
yeah. It just pops.
Yeah. And like I said, you can see, you can see eyebrows, you can see the indentations of the cheek, you can see where the scar was that they used to cut it off, because you had that huge mark running like just beside like her left eye.
Yep.
You had that huge mark running down the side of her face. Yeah, that lamp was amazing. I loved it. I'm not sure if I'm ready to call it better than the original,
Yeah.
but this was definitely a much better version than I was expecting.
Yeah. I mean, also the thing is, we've done this like artificially. We've made it black and white. Could you imagine if it was professionally done black and white?
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
like Darabont's The Mist, or even Miller's Fury Road. I know,
Yeah.
Don, you haven't seen that, but what he was able to do palette wise with those colors is just absolute. Considering Fury Road is I mean, it has two extremes. I mean, you get the color, which is about as
As bright
vibrant.
as they could make it.
Yeah, and then the black and white is the it's the other end of that, but it's still amazing to some of those scenes to see. That's why every time we talk about, or this topic comes up, no one usually, because I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen this like we've just watched it together, but anytime Darabont's film or Miller's film comes up, I'll always chime in with, man, I wish we could get sort of like our own black and chrome version of Texas Chainsaw,
Yeah.
where somebody could go in there and really have fun painting with this kind of palette,
Yeah.
what it would look like.
Because I mean, you could address the few problems that we have with it. Like
Yeah.
Even the end with the I think I'm with Don completely. I think the end is it might actually be more hurt by the black and white
Yeah.
than.
yeah.
It's the
But you could
golden hues against them that make it work.
but you could address that if you're
But
literally painting it
but
Yeah.
these colors.
but well, go ahead. Um,
Mhm.
Rob, were you
No, I think
were
that
you
was.
done or?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Um, the way I see it is, I don't need any color for the ending, bro, because it's so in your face, visceral. You don't need just by the audio. It's the kind of film that you can listen to the audio and it works. You kind of get what's going on. You don't need colors. You don't need any schemes of any sort to know what's going on.
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. That's not the issue I have with it. It's just what makes the ending work is that it's morning. She's survived this hellacious experience and she's
Yeah.
gotten away, and it's a new day. You've got the golden hues of the morning sun highlighting that. You're making it to where you've
It was a night
you,
of terror, if you
you've
will.
gotten you're past the darkness, you're out of the night, and you're in the bright light of the day. You're safe now, and you have the golden hues of the morning sun bouncing off of them. That's what makes the ending work.
Kind of like a dark time, but you still have the rising sun. Is that what you're
Right.
trying to say?
Right. You're past that. You've had all of this experience take place during the night. You've you've been chased by a chainsaw wielding madman. You've had dinner with this crazy psychotic family that tried to have this 110-year-old guy trying to smack you in the head with a meat cleaver. And you're you're through with it. You're done. You're in a new day, and you've got a brand new chance. You've got a chance to survive. You've survived, and now it's a new day, and it's something to get away. You're away from them.
Mm.
And I think that's where the the morning sun works. And seeing him dancing with the chainsaw in those morning rays, I think that's what makes it work.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that,
I can see it work. I mean, for me, if we had to, because I mean, we rank films, and I'm gonna rank this film based on that black and white experience. I mean, overall enjoyability for sure. It's I mean, it's DCM for sure. It's 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Rewatchability when it comes to black and white, I'd say 5 out of 10 because it's the kind of film that can be enjoyable in black and white, but it can be enjoyable equally in color.
yeah,
Hmm.
So 5 out of 10 for me. Buy or rent, it's a buy for sure. I mean, as long as you have a TV, I mean, just turn down the color and you can do it. What
Yeah.
about y'all?
For me, overall enjoyability, complete 10. I loved it. The black and white aspect, I will watch it again in black and white. So I'm gonna give that like an 8. And let's put it this way: if they came out with a black and white Blu-ray of it, I would buy it in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
yeah,
But that's one thing I would definitely like to see, like a proper. I'd like to see someone make a black and white version and not just desaturate the color that's already there, but actually
The
go in there and
probability.
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna echo you, Glenn. To me, that is absolutely how I would do it. 10 for the movie, 8 for the experience. Like I said, some of the scenes, especially the early scenes at the beginning, beginning of the chase, where she's dragging Franklin through the woods,
Yeah.
those things are completely blotched out. There's absolutely no detail at all.
Hmm.
Give that a proper look.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go in and you give those scenes like proper shading, proper restorations. It's worked a lot better than I thought it would, even just turning the colors off. Because a lot of these scenes, they actually do look remarkably like those 40s, 50s films.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, let's be honest. Whatever way you can watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a good way to watch it.